In this video, I'll cover the basics of using Adobe Premiere Pro, similar to what can be done in iMovie, but Premiere Pro has a lot more advanced features. But again, today I just want to focus on the basics to kind of give you the equivalent should you choose to use Premiere Pro, and then you can dive in a little bit further. So I'm here in Adobe Premiere Pro, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. Go ahead and give it a name, and choose where I want to save it. And at this point, it will bring up a whole bunch of stuff, and I don't like to try to go through any of my files at this screen because it always defaults to downloads where I have a whole bunch of stuff in there. So instead, I would rather just skip over this part. So I'll hit skip, and then this goes to your main user interface. One thing that's helpful to note before I even get started anywhere here is your window menu gives you all of the different panels that you would need. Of course, if they have a check mark next to them, that means they are visible somewhere. Now, with that being said, sometimes, and it's not the case at the moment, but if you have a lot of different panels open, they'll start to stack up here and kind of hide, and you'll have to click the arrow over. But it's important to note again, you can always tell if it's open somewhere if you go back up to window and see if there's a check mark next to it. So normally, since I skipped past the other part and I do obviously need to add in my media, I can either hit import media or I can pull up my folder and then just simply click and drag in. So I already have some stock footage that I'm going to pull in. I have it on my other screen here. Okay, so you can see I have everything up here in my media browser. If I were to double click on one of these, I can preview over here. Now this is where I could go through and decide kind of where I want to start and put in different mark in, mark out. So let's say I didn't want it to start until about right here. I could mark that in. Maybe I want it to stop about here. I could mark it out. So that way when I drag it down to my timeline, it's only a certain part. So that's up to you if you want to scrub through and do that. Otherwise, I'm going to just start dragging items down to my timeline, which is down here. So right now up in the media browser, of course, just like with any other program, they're not actually in your project, they're in your file, but they're not actually going to be seen until you move it down to your timeline. So I'll just go ahead and click and drag. And you can see here, because this video does happen to have audio, one area here, one layer is the video, and then right underneath is the audio file. So I'll go ahead and just drag in some more. You can see sometimes it puts it down to the other one. You can just drag up. But as you can see, Premiere Pro does give you multiple layers for video and for audio, which is really nice, especially if you have a bigger project. Other things that could be helpful right here in this view is you can go ahead and drag the layer down so that you can see the audio waves a little bit clearer if you want. You can also, if you click on the circle, this will zoom out, and if you drag it farther in, it will zoom in. So that can be helpful, and if you click in the middle, that's how you're actually scrolling horizontally. Other things to note down in this timeline panel, you do want to make sure that this magnet is on. That way when I drag things, you can see it gives that little snap. You want to make sure you're doing that. And these other ones are usually just checked or turned on by default, which I usually just work with. Going over this left toolbar, the first tool up here is the selection tool. So this is what allows me to just click and drag and to select whatever I would like. This next one is the track select forward tool. So I'm just going to drag in one more so we have a variety here. And let me zoom out a little bit. So since I have 3 in here, let's say, I actually decided I want to insert a video right after this first one. If I click my track select forward tool and I select the second one, it's going to automatically select anything forward from that so that I can easily move it over and get a little bit of space here so that I could drag another video down. So let's say I even want to do that, get my selection tool again, and I can drag it down. Now again, my track select forward, I can just move both of those clips. Then we have our ripple edit tool. So with that, if I were to decide to trim the end of this clip, if I have my selection tool selected and I do that, so by the way, to trim something, you select the clip and you can just trim off the beginning or end. But you see if you do it with your selection tool, there's now a big gap here. If I were to undo that and instead use the ripple edit tool. Now if I trim, it's going to automatically close that gap and just move whatever is behind it up and touch it. So that can save you a little bit of time. But on the other hand, if you are trying to build some space in there, then maybe you want to stick with the selection tool for trimming. This, of course, the blue part here is the playhead, just like any other video editing software. Our next tool down is the razor tool. So this is basically how you split a clip. So if you move your timeline to wherever we want to split it, so let's say we want to get rid of from here on. Once our razor tool is selected, we can just click on the playhead itself, and then it will split the clip for us. At that point, I can take my selection tool and I could just delete this out. Now I want to close that gap, so I'll just use the selection tool to move that over. There are some other tools here, the slip tool, the pen tool, rectangle tool, hand tool, type tool. I don't use those all that often, and again, I just want to give you the basics today. You could dive into those on your own if you wanted to. Other things in the timeline of note would be you are able to lock a layer, so if you want to make sure you don't accidentally mess with that when you are all finished, you're able to click the lock button. Some other things in the timeline area that I do tend to use, you can mute a particular track if you're trying to focus on another, or if you want to have, like, let's say you have multiple audio tracks down here and you just want to hear the one, you can click on this S to solo it out and you'll see it automatically mutes the other. So that can be helpful if you do have multiple layers of audio. One other thing in this area of the timeline panel down here is, of course, our sound levels. So if I play this out, you can see it's moving here. Typically, our goal for like a normal production is we're shooting between -18 and -6. So you want to make sure that you are able to keep the sound consistent, which I will show you how to do. But next I want to show you some of the effects. So if you can go up to the effects panel, it depends on how you have it set up as to where it is. If you don't see it at all, again, you can click on window and make sure that you have effects set. One other helpful hint is you'll also want to have effect controls open. Basically, the effects panel lets you find the effect itself, and the effect controls panel is what lets you actually edit the effect and modify it. So this is where we find, as you can see, all kinds of audio effects, audio transitions, video effects, video transitions, etc. So let's say I want to find a video transition of dissolve. Of course, I can search up here, or I can just go through the menu. So maybe I want to cross dissolve. I'll just go ahead and drag it down. So now if we play it out, you can see that nice cross dissolve. So if you click on the effect, it will allow you to edit it, but then you'll need to jump over to effect controls. So you can see you can adjust the duration of it, and you can change where exactly it is, etc. So again, effects is where we actually found the effect itself. Effect controls is what allowed us to edit it and modify it. So that would be useful for video transitions. Another item I'll show you while we're up here is the graphics template. So just like in iMovie or any other or most other video editing software, they have some pre-built titles. So again, this can simply be just click and drag in whether you want it at the end or whether you want one over top. So we'll move our playhead. So now you can see the title comes in over top. And to edit that, double click, and now you can change what the text says. You can see if you go into the effect controls, it has all kinds of stuff like position, scale, etc. You won't necessarily need to do anything with that because it's already built out for you, but you have the option to. With the pre-built graphics, we don't have a lot of like customization options necessarily, but if you would just choose to insert your own text, like let's go up here, click the text tool, click on the screen. Now you can see I'm able to adjust the font. Another area I want to focus on is the sound. So I'm going to go ahead and drag in some audio here. I think this is my voiceover. And I have some background music as well. So I'll go ahead and put both of those in here. I'm actually going to mute just like the noise from all of the clips because really it's kind of irrelevant for most of these. And then I also am going to drag some of this up so I get a little bit more space to my audio here. And you can see, of course, if I drag with a circle, I am zooming in more. I'm going to go ahead and rename this to be my voiceover. I did that by right-clicking, hitting rename, and name that background music. One panel that's helpful to have open, although sometimes it affects how quickly the program is able to run depending on what specs you have on your computer, is the Essential Sound panel. And honestly, it does a lot of it for you. So what it will do is try to classify what audio type it is. I want to make sure that that's correct. In this case, my voiceover is dialogue. Let me check. And in this case, it says it's music, so we're good there. And I can choose, do I want to increase the clip volume, decrease the clip volume? This is where I could also mute it. If I want to, like, let's say I had multiple clips of speaking and like we have multiple speakers here in terms of different people, and we want to try to match the volume, I could highlight all of them and hit auto match. I don't want to do that for this, but we could. I can try to equalize it. There's a lot of different options here that you can do in the Essential Sound panel. So just so you know that we are able to do that. Another thing that I want to show you with audio is the ability to fade in, fade out. So you should see at the beginning of your clip, if you hover over it, there is a little square. We can drag that. I want to fade my music in, so let's see, make sure it worked. Okay, so maybe that's not quite enough. Let's do a little bit more. There we go. And I can go to the end and do the same thing as well. Of course, obviously I'm going to want to trim this down, but we'll do a big fade out, pretending that's actually at the end of my clip here. Okay, so that's fade in, fade out. And of course, when I play it right now, the music is way too loud over my voice. So I want to make sure I'm able to adjust that. So I can do that in a couple of ways. I can simply take the clip volume down if I want to, but the better option is probably to auto duck. And to auto duck, they make it really easy in Premiere Pro as long as I have my music layer selected. So if I scroll down a little bit in the Essential Sound panel, I'll see ducking. I want to turn it on, and I want it to duck against, in this case, the dialogue, which this is already labeled as dialogue, and I can choose my sensitivity. So I'll play it out and see how it did before I adjust anything. And that is definitely not enough. So I'll put it up a lot more. Now let's try it. And just trying to get it where I want it to. So that's still not enough, so I'm going to take the clip volume down as well. And now let's try it.
Tired of the hustle and bustle? Discover a...
So that's much better, and I definitely want to go back and bring up my clip volume on my dialogue a little bit. So let's see.
Tired of the hustle and bustle? Discover a place where nature's magic meets its...
That's pretty good, and I can play around with that again, all in the Essential Sound panel. So again, I would definitely start with ducking, adjust your duck amount here, and the sensitivity, and get it to where the sound is not overpowering your voice. Personally, I wouldn't usually let music run the whole way through because I think it can be distracting when you're trying to listen to dialogue, but this was just for demonstration purposes. So just to recap, we have gone over how to import media into the browser, how to go through mark in, mark out, how to then drag clips and other images and such into our timeline. We've gone over the main tools that can be useful, how to trim, how to split clips, how to fade in, fade out audio, how to auto duck, how to add transitions, how to add graphics and other text, and we've talked a little bit about effects and how to modify those effects. I would also like to mention, if you go under video effects here, there are all kinds of effects you can drag onto a particular clip, from color correction to blurring and sharpening, other adjustments such as levels, noise and grain, anything that obviously could put some kind of artistic effect or even just improvement effect on a video or an image itself. So again, all of that is under effects once you drag it down onto the clip. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Let's see. We'll just do a color balance onto this one. And then once we have that clip selected that we just dragged it onto, we'll hit Effect Controls. And then you can see color balance has been added on here. So we can play around with that and adjust the color. So under the effects, there are so many options. And again, with Effect Controls, you can modify it to pretty much wherever you want. And then under that window menu option up here, again, we have a lot of other windows or little panels that we could open. I have the main ones open that I tend to use, but of course there is a lot more that you can do with Premiere Pro, but I just wanted to show you the basics. So when you're already done with your project to export, you can either hit File, Export, or you can simply go over here and hit Export. Typically, I will export it as an H.264. However, if it is a really large project, it doesn't always like to do the H.264. It'll get like almost to the end and then cut, at least with my computer. So HEVC, pretty similar to the H.264, is a good backup to use. You can send it to the media encoder, but generally I just choose to export. Just note, depending on the size of your video, it could take some time. With Adobe Premiere Pro, you also do have the option to publish straight to Facebook, TikTok, and other social media platforms. But again, for me personally, I would rather have the actual MP4 file itself so that I could post it to social media if I wanted, or use it wherever I would like. Within Pro, you also have the option to add on captions in there. It is pretty solid, and then any other settings you want to adjust. So those are the basics of Premiere Pro.